A lot of things to talk about. So, would you agree? You in review?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic topic to talk about, man.
All right, dude. These things even high tech. How crispy does our voices sound? So crispy.
I love it, dude.
So you know, you're this podcast, the theEMpodcast, for everybody who may be just tuning in for the first time, was intended to be a podcast about not only success or power or trying to make it, but more of what is the path of enlightenment, right? What is an enlightened millennial? What makes us so enlightened? That's the question I get a lot. It's like,
right,
when they say, "Oh, Leandro, you started a podcast called the Enlightened Millennial." It's a pretty bold statement. Like,
right.
What makes you enlightened? Other than us? And I'm like, there's no difference actually, because I work with a lot of people who have their first startups, and I'm like, there's no difference between me and you.
Right.
It's the fact that you had an image or vision of where you wanted to be, and look at where you guys are. I'm so inspired every day by what you guys are achieving as a team, as a unit. You know, startups. You guys are getting funding every year. You guys look at where you guys are. So you had an image of yourself, and look at where you guys are. So that's kind of my message, and where I'm coming from is I had an image of what I wanted to be like in the future, and this year in 2018, I definitely can check off some boxes on the to-do list. So and you're a huge part of that, man. Look at what we're doing. We're doing a podcast now. So
right.
This is what is your take on the Enlightened Millennial for the first, listeners who are listening for the first time right now?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting question. People ask, like, what are you guys the enlightened ones? The answer is no. I mean, it's not that we are saying you listen to us because we're enlightened, we're going to enlighten you. Mm-hmm. The concept is that enlightenment is something that you seek, and it's an active process. Mm-hmm. And if you go through Western philosophy, Greek philosophy, all philosophers have talked about how do you seek and find enlightenment, and everyone has had their different path. Mm-hmm. Whether it's Plato, Aristotle, Jordan Peterson, so many different philosophers and role models. But one thing that unites them all, even though they have different concepts of what enlightenment is that they're seeking enlightenment. Mm-hmm. It's an active process.
Yes.
So I think what separates people who are enlightened is not that they're enlightened, is that they're on the journey of enlightenment and that they're actively pursuing something. Whereas, one of the big themes of this podcast is, you have a choice between being active and between being passive. Mm-hmm. And in this world, it's very easy to be passive. It's very easy to take in just information, consume information, be a consumer, and just spend. Yes. And it's very difficult. And there's so many odds against you every single day, from coming here with almost traffic to starting, a business, to starting a podcast, how many issues there come, and like small projects to big projects. It's constantly about, hey, no, I got to be active and I got to get outside my comfort zone. So enlightenment are those people, and the process of enlightenment are those people that are saying, hey, dude, I don't want to be passive anymore. I want to go out there and I want to seek some sort of higher knowledge. And I choose to be an active participant in the 80, 90, 100 years that I'm going to be alive.
100%. So it all, well, not all, but most of it boils down to mindset, right? We always talk about mindset, and it's a common theme in many different podcasts about success and all that stuff. But can you just, again, for the listeners just listening for the first time, what I took from your outlook on life is how to shift from being a consumer to being a producer. And whenever I pass this message on, I relay this message on to other people who just daily life.
Right.
It's like, wow, I never thought about it that way. Because most of us, I mean, yes, we do consume. That's what life's about. Life's about enjoying it, of course, right?
To some extent, yeah.
To an extent, yes. Sure. You're here to enjoy life you're given. But how much do you enjoy, and how much should you create? How creative should it be? How much should you produce in that way? So can you just explain that concept? I know it really. I love to hear it every time.
Absolutely.
But what to everybody listening? Can you just reiterate?
Yeah, this goes back to the concept of being active and passive, and I want to kind of elaborate on that. So most people in life, and this goes from the small things we do in a day. Like if you wake up, the first thing you do when you wake up, people take out their phones and they respond to their text messages, or they respond to their likes, or they respond to emails. They're responding. So the tone they start of their day is by responding to others. And that small tone, by just saying, hey, I'm going to wake up my entire 20, 30 minutes, the first thing I'm going to do is respond to other people. that thing shifts throughout the whole day what they do. So then they wake up, they go to work, and someone's giving them orders, and then they taking that in, and then they're again responding. And then, they haven't planned their meals, they haven't planned their workouts, they haven't really planned anything. So what they're constantly doing is just responding to the environment.
Right.
And they're not acting, right? They're just receiving, and they're reacting. So the difference between being a consumer versus being a producer is are you acting or are you constantly reacting? Right. Most people who don't have control over their emotions, they constantly react. They get angry, they react to something. It's constant reaction. But the minute you say, dude, I'm not going to react, I'm going to act, it's a whole different mindset. So it starts from the first thing you do in the morning. Are you going to first thing to whip out your phone and start responding? Or are you going to say, no, dude, the first thing is I'm going to set the tone of the day.
Yes, 100%.
But the big takeaway from this podcast is a lot of people, there's a concept of wealth creation, being getting next level with your business, upgrading your lifestyle, upgrading where you're living, all that stuff, right? And so for a lot of people, they're confused. Man, I feel like I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this 9-to-5 rat race and I'm not getting ahead. And one of the things that I tell people is you got to flip a switch, because constantly what you're doing, because you're so much of your time is spent consuming, you're not producing any value. And so I said this from the beginning, but your wealth that you create for yourself and the ability to upgrade your lifestyle is directly proportional to the amount of value you provide to the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so if you're a consumer, you're not providing value to the marketplace. You're giving to the marketplace your resources. You're just giving it away.
Yeah,
and
your time.
Yeah, they're giving your time, your money,
your energy.
If you just mindlessly watching the news, mindlessly listening to the tabloids, mindlessly going through social media, you're not producing anything to the marketplace. So people say, well, I'm not seeing a growth in my salary. I was like, dude, but how many people have you actually touched? How much value are you providing in your workplace, in your community, in the United States, in Boston, wherever you are? So this is a microcosm of a big thing. When I tell people, hey, dude, the first thing what you're doing in the morning, are you responding to people's texts? Why? The reason why I'm saying that, because that's a big thing. It's a big mindset shift, because that means that throughout the day, all you're doing is responding to other people, and your ability to upgrade your life beyond what the mean, so what the average has set for you, is going to be very, very difficult for you to break out and cross a social class. Because otherwise, the mean for you is what you're born with. If you're average, middle class, you're going to stay in that. Unless you say, dude, I'm not going to be passive anymore. I'm going to go over the mean, and I'm not going to be a consumer anymore. That's really what it gets down to.
That's a huge statement. Is like crossing the social path. What was that?
Your social stratification is what it's called.
Exactly.
And so you're crossing that, dude. If you are from a certain income level, and it's not about money, but it's just about it's income level. A lot of times it's about mindset too, right? If you hang like certain people who have certain incomes, they think all the same stuff. They just, you called it. You had a very good word for it. One of the podcasts, you said, dude, orbits. It's like I'm not in that orbit. I can't see that. Right. And what people are saying is like when one orbit to the next is like they're actually living on different worlds.
Yes.
Because a world for me is what is possible and not. It's reality and non-reality, right? Fiction, non-fiction.
Sure.
And so if my concept of what's possible and not is completely different than what your concept of possibility and non-possibilities, we actually live in completely different worlds. Even though we're living both, a few miles away, my world and yours are so different. Yeah, and so our achievements are going to be vastly different.
Yeah. Well, it's all also going back to what you said. It's like how much value creation do you, like how valuable of a person can you become? And that most of the time is in direct proportion to your income level, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's it's a common thread. So let's see how much. 12. Yeah, that's good, man. I like this. Is amazing. The sound is just crispy.
Yeah, for anyone tuning in, if you look to our past episodes, this is actually really cool because Leandro, we're talking about upgrading here. And so we've upgraded. We actually have in a studio right now, recording with professional equipment, be able to provide better quality of volume for our listeners, talking about value creation.
100%.
One of the things that Leo and I realize is that, dude, this podcast has gotten bigger than us. Because we're getting people that are asking about, hey, like, where can we find more content? Where can we get paid content? Every time we go to some sort of networking event, I came to your Christmas party, people are like, dude, I know you from the podcast. And I've never met those people. Yeah, when you came to my home, you're like, dude, I know you from the podcast. That's crazy. It's traveling. I told you a story when I was in New York, and one of the guys like, dude, I know you from somewhere. And they knew from my Instagram and from and they were quoting stuff from that you had said, like, oh, say hi to Leo, and it was like the most random conversation
that's
ever.
Crazy. That's
but that's why we're doing this, right? Because now this has grown bigger than us, and so I guess part of when we're talking about New Year's resolutions, I want to talk about what are some of the struggles that you face on a day-to-day basis, and how can you get bigger than where you are today. And life, and the way you asked me the first question, what is enlightenment? For me, it's about constantly upgrading. You got to upgrade your life and your thinking, and also your orbit. If my orbit is here, I got to get bigger. And so how do you do that? How do you take something that we just started? We started a podcast. How do we continuously upgrade? What are the challenges you face? What are the challenges that I faced this year? And I wanted to really delve into that a little bit more.
Well, I mean, challenge. I don't even know where to start. There's so many, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just how resilient you are, like, or how resilient you become through all the challenges. I saw a quote the other day I posted on my Instagram, was like, if you feel like you've encountered some type of challenge in your life, then you have just leveled up, or something like that. I don't remember exactly how the quote went, but it's like when you get a cut, I always describe, you get a cut and the wound heals, and then there's a massive scar all over it.
Right.
And that's kind of how challenges are. That's what it is. You encounter a challenge and you go through it, however long it takes, a week, 2 weeks, a day, 2 days, whatever. And you just become a stronger person from that.
Right.
So the net for the year to come, I mean, I'm looking forward to a challenge. Can you believe that? I mean, who would really want to go through a challenge? Not many people.
Right.
I'm looking forward to more battles, because I know that's gonna
fuels growth.
It's gonna fuel growth for sure. But first time business. The major thing is starting this podcast and owning my first business, which is micro moving solution. So for any students listening in the Boston, Cambridge, Somerville area, me and a small team, we provide what's called micro moving, which is the movement of small items, a couple boxes, bed frame, dressers,
right?
You name it, small items. We can do bigger tasks on demand, of course.
What is it? Where can they find that stuff? There's a website, or what do you?
Yeah, go to greensolutionist.com.
Right.
Website. I don't know if depends when you're listening to this. It's website's currently under construction, but you can go to greensolutionist.com, Facebook, Instagram.
You can DM you, right?
Slide it into the DMs. I love that quote. Slide it into the DMs, and we're starting to diversify what we do. Awesome. as a gig. So we're starting to look at reclaiming furniture, because it's still part of the green aspect of it. And yeah, it's the first. I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to what the future holds. So that's for 2019, more growth, more development. And for anybody who's listening now, if you have something in your mind, like just a little spark, a thought, there's no reason why you can't do it. Just be resourceful. Go out there and find any spark, anything else that can add to your, whether it's a team, whether it's you have to join a networking group, whether it's an old friend on Facebook that that can connect you to someone that you need to talk to. So there are many resources out there for you to move forward. Yeah.
So I want to get into so we're talking about New Year's and doing what we're going to do next and how to grow bigger. So I want to delve into that topic a little bit.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So dude, you know what the biggest frustration is in today's life?
Tell me.
And for everyone, it doesn't matter where you are in your in your career. I think the biggest thing is, dude, there's so much stuff to do.
There's a lot, man.
Dude, you gotta write a blog, then you gotta have a vlog, then you got a podcast, then you should do interviews, then you should go on Instagram, then you should have a LinkedIn, then you should you have to kill your 9 to 5, then you should find time to network, then you should find time to go to the gym because it's important. And we know right now, as millennials, and I face this too. It's like, dude, how do I do like all of this, consistently every day? And I think that's a huge challenge, and there's a lot of noise right now. And so the big thing is trying to figure out, my life's work is about productivity. Everyone, whether they like me or whether they hate me, every single person you'll meet will say that they message me at 3 a.m. and I respond, that I never sleep. Everyone that you've met has always said that.
Yep.
So my concept has always been about peak productivity, and I'm obsessed with that. Like, how can I get more
productivity?
Peak productivity.
Before we jump into that, I want to say, I think you have to choose what you get excited about, because if you have this entrepreneurial gene, what we talk about, I get excited about a lot of things, man, and you do too, right? So I think before and talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
You have to choose what to get excited about, because I get excited about just anything that comes my way, and I want to go after every single thing. But as we know, that you cannot be chasing all these rabbits. But go ahead, sorry.
No, that's a big. But I think that there's this frustration, and that's a frustration you have. There's a frustration I have. It's like, dude, I just don't have time to do all that stuff. And I think a big part of this podcast is like personal growth, but also growth in your own business and career. And so many of us are, because I actually, this is relevant to a lot of people listening to podcasts, because many people who listen to podcasts end up then I'm hitting me up and for mentorship and stuff. So when I talked to them, I was like, dude, I want to break out on 95. I don't think I can have any growth. I was like, okay, but so what are you doing on the side? They're like, okay, well, I'm growing a side business on the side. But they're like, dude, when I get home, it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I just don't have the fucking energy to put in so much content. But I was like, well, bad luck, because the other people who you're competing with on your side hustle, they're doing it full time.
Doing the same thing.
So they're like, well, I just don't know. And so what happens is they're constantly tired after a 9 to 5, and then they do a little bit of work on their side hustle. Like, dude, once the side hustle gets big, I'm gonna leave my 9 to 5. But it never happens because they can never go all in. And so what ends up happening, they just end up staying a side hustle. And there's no glory in being a side hustle. Side hustles are great. But if you have a side hustle that you started a year ago and 3 years is still a side hustle, maybe it's still good because you're making some income, and nothing against passive income. But if you're saying, dude, I want this side hustle to grow so big that I can leave my 9 to 5, the problem what happens with most people, dude, 10 years from now, they wake up 41, they got 3 kids, and they're still in the shitty 9 to 5.
That's scary, man.
And it happens to almost every fucking person. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm aware. I don't want that. I just envision myself like that. I don't want that.
So I'm speaking because this was a massive fear I had in my life that it would happen to me. So I think I want people listening, because this is the number one question I get. I got this question from this another guy who actually listens to our podcast. I met with him, and he's like, dude, that's my problem, because I was like, he was like, dude, yeah, but when my 9 to 5, when that side hustle grows, I'm gonna leave my 9 to 5. I was like, what are you doing for your side hustle to grow? I was like, I'm doing 4 or 5. I was like, dude, but that's not enough. It's not enough. So I think here's I'm a little bit different than most people, and this is why I don't get a lot of love from people. I grew up in my life from tough love. Okay. Yeah. So I like to give it back to people because I feel like that's how they grow the most. So I'm gonna say something that
tell us, man. I'm looking for listeners. I have no clue what this guy's about to say, but just come on, let's say.
All right. So this is you can take this as either you're gonna hate it, or you're gonna take something away. But if you're in your mid-20s, early 30s, mid-30s, probably a lot of people listening to it, and if you are struggling and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, you're fucked. You're fucked as ever.
Oh my God.
No, you're fucked. I was a few years ago, and I heard that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when you're 13, 14, and there's young people listening, and when you start on a startup and stuff, you have no responsibility. All the money you make, whatever, you can just, because you're living with your parents. The parents are. Yep. So now when you're in your mid-20s, you got to pay rent, you got to pay insurance, you got to you have your 9 to 5 job, you have other responsibilities. So if you want to grow a side business, your odds are already stacked against you. There's honestly, and then people have student loans. Is like, oh man. And I'm not saying this. People listening like, oh my God, like what's Prady? I'm gonna tune out of this podcast right now.
No, guys, listen.
But the reason why I'm saying this is you need to be cognizant of the fact that you're fucked. Because if you're not cognizant of the fact that you're fucked, you're not gonna do anything about it. You in your mind, you're gonna be like, oh, dude, a side hustle is gonna grow, but just a little bit, and that would work. That attitude works. When you're, 14, 15, 16, I was 14, 15 when I started my first side hustle. Dude, I was living at home with my parents. My mom would cook for me. I had every money I had would sink it right into my business, would grow my business. And then I grew a pretty large business for most people. By the time I was 17, 18, by the time I was in college, I already sold my first business. So, because I started very young. So that's an advantage that I had.
Right. So here's the moment everybody needs to realize, like, what are you going to do about it now that you know, like, it's guaranteed that, because it's guaranteed that you'll be screwed. For sure. Like now, I have the same issue now. Like I'm a couple months in. Right. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to find out different ways, because my income from a side, because now it was a side gig in the summer. I don't want it to be side gig anymore, but I feel trapped. So this is exactly what Prady is describing for everybody. It's like what ways can I escape that?
This is the main moment from 2019 as you go in. Understand that you're fucked. The reason why I say that, I want to bring people back to college or high school. Sometimes you were basically a little bit behind on studying, and then the night before the exam, you had a final exam. Yeah. And you had to go. What did you do before the final exam? You had a choice: either you don't study, or you go all in. You pull an all-nighter, right?
Yeah, pull all-nighters. Okay. And when I had I was like hanging on a thread. It was like. Okay. I just had to.
But what if you were at that point? You say I came to you and like, dude, I haven't studied, and we have a huge final exam. It's a graduating exam, right? But I haven't studied all night, and you're like, dude, well, you probably should pull on. Here's some fucking Adderall. Like, go study, right? Yep. But what if I told you, but dude, I'm kind of tired. Can we watch a movie instead? Can I just? But dude, isn't life about enjoying? But dude, shouldn't I just? But dude, it's not healthy though for me to study all night. Mm-hmm. But what would you tell me?
What would I tell you?
Yeah, if I said that to you.
I'd be like, you gotta do it, dude. There's no choice.
Yeah, it's like, dude, but you fucking wasted all your fucking time. The whole semester you were shooting the shit, fucking around.
Right.
So now's the night for the exam. If you now want to go out, who's not healthy?
Nope.
Oh, it's not good. Then okay, then you're gonna be fucked.
It's like an accumulation of, you waited to the very, very end, and now it's just like everything falls.
This is what people are doing that I meet every fucking day. They come to me like, but Prady, that's not healthy. That's not healthy. I can't. Dude, I just can't do it. I can't stay up all night. I just can't do it. I fucking can't do it, dude. But I want to enjoy my life too. I was like, okay, dude, but you're like that. If you fucked up the whole. You were 26, 27, 28. From the age you were 14, you're growing, a hair on your ball sack until now. All you were doing is fucking around. Now it's game time, and you have just a few years left that you can actually do anything big because it's gonna get harder and harder. And now you say, oh, but I want to enjoy again. And I was like, dude, you don't have that option, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that fucking option. It's the same thing as you would tell me when the night before an exam. I didn't study the whole semester. Would go out and party, and the night before an exam, you'd be like, dude, make sure you study. Here's some Adderall. Go do it all out. Spend all nighter. And I would say, dude, it's not healthy though. Dude, wouldn't you laugh at me? Like, dude, you spend your whole semester fucking around. Now the night before an exam, you want to do it again. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that for a lot of people, because they're not cognizant of the fact how fucked they are. Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why I like to say that, because if there's no urgency in your life to do something about your situation, if there's no fucking fire lighting under your ass, then nothing's going to happen. How many times? I mean, we knew people last year, New Year's, oh, dude, this is going to be my year. It's going to be a fucking year.
Yeah.
This is not one person, probably 20, 25 people.
Sure.
And then this year, nothing happened. Right. It's because there's no fire under our ass. Mm-hmm. Because when they're a little tired, they go to sleep. When they want to watch a movie, they'll watch a movie. When they want to go out, they will go out. It's like, dude, you can't afford that anymore.
Right.
It's a night before an exam and I got to hand in a thesis, I can't go and watch Netflix. But you know who can watch Netflix? The guy who studied the whole semester. Every night they were working a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so the night before the exam, they could sleep at 8 o'clock and then wake up and they would ace the exam. Why? Because they were prepared. Right. If you are unprepared, which is probably many people listening to it right now, if you're in your mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, and you're not where you want to be financially, living paycheck to paycheck, you are not prepared. You fucked up. Agree, okay? Accept that. And once you've accepted it, say, okay, I need to have a fire under my ass right now. It's so urgent, dude. And I want people to recognize this, how much problem it happens in America, because once you get into your 30s, 35s, living cost is going to increase. You're going to have more responsibilities. If you ever want to have married or children, forget doing a side hustle. You're going to get fucked. Yeah. So you don't have limited amount of time. So I want people to listen to this podcast for 2019. Make it an urgency. And I've said this before, but I've never said it like this, because I think people don't understand that you have to have a desire. And that's how I feel constantly. Like I feel so urgent that, holy shit, dude, I'm on a ticking time bomb. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So that's going to light my fire. And so is it healthy to not sleep? No, of course not. But you fucked up your whole time. So now you got to pay, bro. Right. Because you were sleeping 8 hours for the last 14 years. You slept 8 hours every night. So now you have 2 years left. I want to sleep 8 hours. Dude, no, you can't. You slept 8 hours your whole life. You got to pay an hour later. Yeah. And that's the same. And I use the example of this person studying before an exam because it resonates with people. They understand what I'm saying that. Right. But when it comes to their own life, they don't understand that. And this is the one takeaway for 2019. Understand that if you're not happy where you are, you fucked up badly, horribly.
I love this.
No reason why you should, if you are at 28, 27, 26, early 30s, in the age of the internet with digital information, if you're not where you want to be, it's because you didn't do shit. You fucked up, and it's fine. Sometimes you fuck up, and it's okay, but it's only okay if it actually motivates you to do something else with it. What are you doing? Right. What the fuck are you doing?
I couldn't say it any better than this, guys. I hope you guys got value from that little. I don't even know what burst it was. 5 minutes. Anyways, for 2019, you know what to do, and what I thought about now is like, comparing what you said to a credit card. Like, you spend all your money through the whole month, and then it comes time to pay your credit card bill. Like, holy shit, I spent that much money. I don't have money to pay that. I don't have enough to pay my credit card bill. So it's pretty similar. But
yeah, and I got this. I used to go to the gym with lots of my friends, and it was just crazy workouts when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. And like, dude, I need a break. I was like, dude, we're training for 1.5 hours. I was like, dude, you were chilling for 22.5 hours in a day. It's just, you can't work for 90 minutes. Right. You fucking idiot.
That's a good one.
So I don't understand this concept. And that's the big thing that you have to recognize in life. You can either start early and do a little bit each time and then be okay. But if you haven't started early, then you need to make it an urgency. If you're not doing
anything, then...
Yeah, but then you have to make it an urgency. You don't. So in life, it's all about what you can afford. So when you look at other people and what they're doing, I have people right now, I was like, oh, Prady, but dude, I saw you going out the other night. I was like, yeah, but you're not me, bro. Like, you can't live like me. Because when when you were going out, I was staying in.
Right.
So you can't live like that. And so a lot of people see this Instagram stuff, and it's like, I don't know if it's true or not, but probably those people paid earlier. So you can't live your life like that.
Exactly.
You got to look at your bank account. How much money do I have in it? So if you have $20,000 in your bank account, you can't afford a Lamborghini. Tough fucking luck.
Yeah.
So that means that you need to do, so you have to look what you can afford. So where you are in your life, if you're not satisfied, you have to have a fucking fire light under it, and you have to recognize that, dude, you don't have the luxury to sleep. You just don't. I'm sorry, bro. It's gone. You wasted it.
You should have started earlier.
Well, you don't have the luxury to sleep. You don't have the luxury for social time. You don't have the luxury for your health. Those luxuries are gone. So, and this is the problem. And then people are, dude. So this is what Eric Thomas said. For a lot of people, they value sleep more than they be success, and that's fine. If you value that more, then be excited that, dude, you can go to a networking event. And people are like, what did you do in your life, bro? I was like, dude, I fucking slept 8 hours every day. Put it on your LinkedIn. I fucking slept 8 hours every day, and see if it brings you in. And if you want to put it on your LinkedIn, if you like that, that's great. I have nothing against it.
This goes back to not so for everybody listening whose shoe this fits, who fits this shoe. I think this definitely goes back to becoming more of a producer instead of a consumer. You've consumed enough over the past years. Now become a producer. For 2019, just produce more. Learn some new skills. Learn a new language. Learn something. Become a bit more valuable than you were in 2018. I think that's what Prady's trying to tell you, right?
Yeah, that's in
a nutshell.
That's a nutshell is what I try to say, because I think that a lot of people also criticize me, and rightfully so. They rightfully criticize me. People are worried. It's the end of the year. I get extremely run down, but it's just because, even though I started early, I feel an urgency to consistently work. And so when the same people that are usually telling me, I was like, dude, but you have to understand is that you can choose to pay now or you pay later. I would rather sacrifice my sleep and my energy in my 20s than in my 80s. Fuck, dude, I can't. I'm afraid, dude. What if you continue in the path right now, for a lot of people listening, you'll be 50, 60 when you retire, and you won't be able to retire in America. You won't. The average saving rates in America right now is below 3%. People don't save shit. So they're going to retire at age 60, and then you can live till 90 because how long we live is increased. So, but you don't have the income now. So that's why they have a lot of people who are unfortunate. They're old and they still got to work. So the question is, do you want to pay then? Because I don't know at that point whether my body will be able to handle it.
Right.
But I know I can right now.
Right.
So it's okay.
So definitely come up also with a system for your life, right? Design a system that fits you best, and go after the passive income, right? That we always talk about. So
passive income, or just do whatever you're doing. You should be able to answer the question. If you have a side hustle or you haven't started one, you say, dude, 2019, I'm gonna blow it up, bro. I'm going to make fucking crazy money. I'll make $6,000 a month, $7,000, $10,000, whatever you want to make. But what are you actually doing to do that? It has to be something that actually is a system or a business plan that actually gets you there. Because if you haven't done that, then 2019 is going to pass and you're still not going to have done shit. Right. Like it's literally just going to pass for everyone. Even for me, if I don't have a plan about how to increase my net worth for the next year, nothing's going to happen. Last year, I knew I wanted to increase my net worth and I was stuck. So I left my job in a law firm. I took a huge fucking risk, said no to insurance, no to everything. I studied my entire life for this stuff. I said no, and I went balls deep in my businesses. So did it pay off? Yes. Did it come at a huge price on my emotional everything? Yes. But that was a huge, massive action I took, and I had a plan in mind, and that plan, I knew if I followed it, is going to make me X amount of wealth. So now for the next year, I have to sit down and say, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing for personal branding? Are we upgrading ourselves? We come in here. What am I doing for AZÖTH? What am I doing for my real estate company? What am I doing for stuff like that? And it has to be a specific plan. Because if it's not, dude, life goes. Yeah. You know how quickly a years pass by, dude?
Oh, dude, man, it's so quick.
It flies like that.
So real quick as well, you said planning.
Yeah.
And I mentioned on a few podcasts ago, I was like, I realized one of my Millennial moments was like, dude, I'm a shitty planner.
Right.
Like, I'm a terrible planner. And that's something that what is that? What we said before, like failing to plan is fail, right?
Absolutely.
You have to Google Calendars kind of woke me up. It's like, people are really using this Google Calendar thing? Guys, use a calendar. Use it, or block off time in your schedules to and managing your time. Like, time management is huge. Of course I knew about this, but planning within your slots of your time. Also my super Millennial moment for me. So
yeah, it's the biggest. I always say, people talk about information being the most important commodity. That is a quote from Wall Street. Back in Gordon Gekko times. But I always say the most important commodity is time, because time you can never get back. It's gone, you guys. Right. Like, I can earn. Like, someone can really rob me right now, and my car's parked outside. I don't know if I fucking locked it. Someone can walk away with it right now. Guess what's gonna happen? Someone's gonna take it. I'm gonna be fucking pissed. Knowing myself, Prady, I'm gonna earn that shit back, and I'm even drive a better car than what someone's gonna steal, because it's me. But If someone takes my time away and wastes my time, and if I'm fucking around, I can't get that back. And I've built an entire business. AZÖTH is based on giving people back time. That's the whole business is about. I'm just talking about productivity. And the reason I'm talking about that is not because I don't need to start this business or anything like that. The reason why I'm doing it is because I want people to recognize how important that is. That's why I started this podcast earlier. Like, if you've wasted time before, since you can't get that back, you need to maximize what you have right now. Right, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that's and this is something that consistent practice, like Malcolm Gladwell, all these people talk about. It's the 10,000 hour rules, like consistent practice. But the problem is, if you're already 37, if you're 28, 29, you don't have time for 10,000 hours anymore.
You gotta wake up, guys.
So how are you going to be an expert at anything? And you're not going to be able to bring value. And so this concept, a lot of podcasters are super excited and motivated and give a lot of people hope. I do something a little different. And the reason why I do that and I speak to people like that is because I want to be real with them. And I want them to recognize, like, dude, I want you to go listen to this right now and go home right now and feel fucking guilty. Like, oh, fuck, dude, I'm actually really fucked. And I want people to feel that way. And I think that might be a motivator for a lot of people.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was for me, man. Whenever we started talking about these things earlier this year, I was like, that's actually true. That's, well, you know, it's definitely kind of didn't go against what I initially thought, but I was like, it was a different perspective. And I was like, what if I try this? Or what if I did that? Or what if I thought this way? Does that change my thinking pattern? It's just all... it's just a different way of approaching life, and I think a lot of people need to do that,
right?
Because otherwise, they're just, like you said, we're just gonna get stuck. So I definitely don't want to be an 80-year-old, and I can't move, and I don't have any income. So that's guys, for 2019. What are your goals? I want to hear some of your goals for 2019. What do you want to?
Yeah, so my goal is to make everything inspired by the great Grant Cardone. But my goal has always been to do everything 5 times bigger. So this time I want to do 10 times bigger. So 10 times bigger audience that we can reach through Enlightened Millennial. It's very important to me. 10 times bigger the revenue and the amount of people that I reach through AZÖTH.
We should get business cards, man. I'm telling you, business cards.
I know, man. We're gonna upgrade everything.
Let's do it, dude.
We're gonna upgrade everything. But the concept is about constantly thinking big.
Yes.
And this is another thing. People say, well, I don't want to be big. I don't just. You don't. This is going back to the beginning of the podcast and about value creation. You don't serve anyone by being small. You don't serve anyone. You don't serve a community by being small. The smaller you are, you don't serve anyone. It's the most selfish thing you can do in your life is to have a little small side hustle that only serves 5 people. If you have a startup that you only sell it to 20 people, you're a fucking selfish motherfucker.
And also, what about your competition? I mean, there will be a competitor that's much bigger than you. So what's the point? Like, you're just going to be smaller than your competition.
But it's also selfish because if you have a great product right now, like a great product that you can patent, that you can get something that you can license, and someone wants to give you intellectual property for whatever it have, and you sell it to 20 people, that's the most selfish fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. It's like, dude, you sell it to your friends, but what about other people? Serve other people. And so people feel very, dude, I feel, but man, I'm a small dude. You know how people like talk here in America right now, especially here? Yeah, but dude, I'm just a little guy. The little guy should win. Everything's about the little guy. I'm just a normal dude. I'm a simple dude. I don't have big demands. I'm just happy with small things. And they act like it's a fucking compliment, like it's a great thing. It's not great. Being a little guy is not a good thing. Upgrade your fucking lifestyle, because when you're a little guy, you don't influence anyone in your society. You don't help a single fucking person. If I'm a little guy, if I'm not giving back to my community, if I'm not giving back to the city, if I'm not paying more taxes, if I'm not paying, I fucking hate taxes, but if I'm not paying more taxes, if I'm not growing my startup, if I don't grow my startup, if I don't grow this podcast right here, there's no nobility in that. There's no nobility in fucking playing small. And I think that's a bigger thing. And that's why to next year, like, plan bigger for 2019. But the other thing too is, like, think big, because there's no nobility. I want to keep saying that. It's from Wolf of Wall Street. He said there's no nobility in poverty, right? And the reason why he says that is because you cannot serve anyone by having a small side hustle. It's the most selfish fucking thing. Absolutely. And there's it's nothing great about being a small guy.
That's true. Oh, so everybody, 10x rule, Grant Cardone, read the book. Have you read the book? I read it. It's awesome. Or listen to it, whatever.
Dude, so I'm gonna quick bonus Grant Cardone edition. So I was at this little meetup. This was a while back when Grant Cardone was really grown, right? And so a kid, he stood up and he talked to Grant, and he was like, and I remember this because this was a great moment. So he said he was super proud, dude. He was like a young guy, dude. I think much younger than us. Okay. And he saved a ton of money. Okay. And he's like, dude, I'm excited. I've saved a lot of money, and my mom wants me to kind of take it easy right now and kind of grow steadily. And Grant was like, how much have you saved? And he didn't want to say, but Grant likes you to tell how much you're making. Yep. And he's like, dude, he was like 19 or 20. He's like, dude, I've saved $75,000. A lot of money, dude. A lot of money. Yeah, sure. And Grant Cardone was like, dude, you're fucking broke, man.
I know, yeah.
He said that out a lot. Yeah. But it was like and I heard him in person, and he's like, dude, you're fucking broke. Yeah. And Grant said, you know what, man? I'm going home right now to see my kids and I have a fucking jet. And he says that now at a lot of seminars. But you can't do that, bro. You live in fucking Boston. You're broke, bro. And he was
that's something he was saying.
That's that guy, dude. I could see him in his face because I was sitting on the other side of the audience, you could see him getting smaller, and because he was so proud to tell the audience, dude. Because a 19-year-old that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
okay?
it's a little.
I haven't kept. It's good money, right? So, and he was so proud. You could see him get smaller and smaller. But what Grant was trying to do was not trying to talk him down or say, dude, you're a fucking piece of shit. What he's trying to do is like, dude, think bigger. Like, think bigger. Constantly think bigger. Don't be happy just with that. Because by being a small guy, dude, I just have a small business. I just have a small little startup. I know so many people in Cambridge, dude, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. What have you done? When someone says I'm just an entrepreneur starting a startup, and then okay, it's like, cool, man. 2 years later, what are you doing? I'm an entrepreneur. I just started a startup. What are you doing? I have a side hustle. It's 4 years from now. Basically what it meant, they started an app and they haven't even fucking released it on the App Store yet. There's no nobility in being a startup and eating Maggi noodles all the fucking time. You need to get out of that. There's no nobility staying home with your parents. You need to move out of there. There's no nobility living in a place that you don't want to live. It's a fucking dump. You got to do it, but you got to get out of there. And so a lot of people glorify that now in America, and there's nothing to be glorified for. And so what Grant was saying is like, dude, don't glorify that you have 75K. You're fucking, by all means, dude, in Boston, you're broke. Boston's expensive, right? So, but that's something that always stayed with me, and that's something that my dad always preached. Like, Prady, you just got to think bigger. You just got to think bigger. You just got to think bigger. And this is the concept that's passed on to me, and not being satisfied with playing with the small boys, right? Playing with the sounds like a crazy statement. But this comes back with sports. When I was younger, I would play soccer. I was fucking great at it, right? And I would play outside in the street. I was really good with soccer. I was like extremely fast, and I was extremely small. And so people used to come watch on the street. I was playing in Holland, and people used to come watch me play. And so the only people who never came and watched a single of me playing was my parents. My mom would never show up. She just didn't give a fuck. So I'd come home, and one time I just gave it to my mom. I was like, Mom, everyone comes and watches me play. I literally have hundreds of people come and watch me play, but you don't come. She was like, Prady, who do you play with? I was like, well, I play with other 9-year-olds. She's like, well, that's the problem. I don't want you. You're playing with 9-year-olds. It's fucking ridiculous. Go play with the 16-year-olds, and then I'll come watch. So I was pissed. So I go play with the 16-year-olds. I got absolutely destroyed, dude. My fucking it's bloody, and they just pushed me. And I wasn't that great anymore. Right. And then I learned to play with the 16-year-old, and then I became good at with the 16-year-olds. And then my mom came and watched. My mom didn't give a fuck. She's like, I don't give a shit if you play with the 9-year-olds, because in life, if you want to 10x your way up, you're gonna have to play with the big boys. So right now, I don't compete with other 26-year-olds. They're a completely different life than I am. I compete with people like the Grant Cardones, the people who are killing it in real estate, people who are killing it with big real estate deals. When I come in a real estate deal, everyone's like old 40, 50, and I come at like 27. But why? That's a mentality I've had from as a young child, because my mom would be like, "Fuck it, you play with 9-year-olds. What's great about that? Yeah. Fuck that, Good, so 10x your lifestyle.
10x, man, 10x. That's something for me too, man. Embrace, and for me, I want to embrace my creativity more and like apply that to getting to the next level as well, and see what else I can do to get that income I really want, So
it's gonna happen, man. I'm gonna fucking coach your way through this. Tough love, but also it's good. It's good that you're doing this. It's good. We're seeing on both sides of the spectrum, but it's all the same. It's all the same.
We talked about it. Just on a different level.
All the fucking same.
You have the same challenges on a different level. I have the same challenges.
But it's the same. It's the same challenge. But it's just the same thing. It's just a different number right next to it.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. So hey, goals 10x your life for the first for 2019. Start off strong. Hit the ground running for sure. I would highly
put a plan in place, and I think we should want to hear from people. So go on. If you aren't following us on Instagram, that's where we push all of our content. People ask for Twitter and Facebook. I don't really give it to them because that's not where we're active. We kill it on Instagram. That's our home. That's our breeding ground.
Instagram, so, iTunes, Stitcher,
at the Enlightened Millennial. Look it up. You can actually Google it, theEMpodcast.com. You find it there, and all the links are over there. And shoot us a message and tell us like what you're doing. And like I want to hold you accountable next year, even myself. I'm gonna hold myself accountable too.
Man.
That whatever you're doing right now needs to be 10x. We're gonna be here and doing this podcast again.
Oh man,
in a year from now, and it better be fucking bigger than.
It better be twice as big of a studio as this one then.
Right on, guys.
All right, guys.